Okay, so heat is energy associated with the movement of particles. We talked about that, right? As particles gain heat, they move more and more, and that means they have higher and higher kinetic energy. The more you move, the more kinetic energy you have. The units we use for energy in this class are joules and calories. Note that this is little c calorie. It is different than the calories you see on your box of cereal in the morning. Okay? And we'll show why in a minute. Okay? So joules or calories. The conversion from joules to calories is 4.184 joules equals 1 calorie. 4.184 joules equals 1 little c calorie. And it's exact. So that means what? Don't have to worry about sig figs with it. You worry about what you started with. So, here's one of the sad things in life. If you eat a donut, and then you go to sleep for an hour, did you use all the energy that was provided by that donut?
No.
No, you did not.
Very sad.
You gotta sleep longer than an hour to burn off a donut. So when you eat a donut, make sure you sleep like an hour and a half. That way you make sure you burn off all that donut. Sure beats going outside and running, doesn't it?
No.
Still got good knees.
Yeah, you're young, you got good knees. I got bad knees, I can't do that.
Running really sucks right now.
Okay, here's one real easy conversion for you. What was it? What was the conversion I asked you for? 4.184 joules equals 1 calorie, right? Can you do this conversion in? What if I tell you you can't use your calculator? Can you do it?
Yes.
Think about it. 1 calorie is 4.184 joules. You got 150 joules. How many calories is it? More than 1 calorie? Yes, it's more than 1 calorie. So get rid of the question of answer A, right? This is how you take a test, guys. This is how you take multiple choice tests. Eliminate easy answers. A is clearly not right because we got more than 4.184 joules. It's more than 1 calorie. Well, how much more than 1 calorie is it? Is it 630 calories? Not anywhere near 630 calories, right? It's got to think about 150 divided by 4. What's 150 divided by 4? Well, 150 is almost 160, which divided by 4 would be 40, right?
36.
That's 36 is the answer, right? See how you can do this stuff in your head without using your calculator?
Especially if they're not
If
close.
you just,
If the answers aren't close.
if you think about it. Now, why is 630 up there? Because some of you will not put the units down, and you'll do 150 joules times 4.184. And then you'll round it off to 2 sig figs, and you get 130. And that is wrong. Because you memorized a multiplier divide. The way I would do it is what? 150 joules,
Yeah.
1 calorie, 4.184 joules. Now I know I got to divide, right? Don't have to memorize the multiplier divide. I write it out every time. It tells me 150 divided by 4, 36. Okay? See how that works? Gotta think. All right. Let's cover energy and nutrition. We'll call it quits for today. So, how do you measure how many calories are in that donut? That's a good question, isn't it? Well, the sad thing is what they do is they take and they burn that donut and they release the energy in the donut. Okay? They use a piece of equipment called a calorimeter for measuring calories. That's kind of cool. They use oxygen, they combine oxygen with whatever they want to measure, and they see the heat that's released by the piece of food gets transferred to water, and you can measure how much heat there is. And here's what one looks like. Here you put your food right here, you burn it, and then the water will increase in temperature, you can measure how many calories are in that piece of food. Do what? It is. It's very, very, it's extremely accurate. Yeah. So, now here's our capital C calorie that we use for our foods in the U.S., right? So here we have some crackers, and they have 120 calories for every 14 crackers. Why do we use capital C calories? Because if we use little c calories, it would be 120,000 little c calories for 14 crackers.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that would seem awful. It is a huge number, right? It's a scaling thing. But so 1 capital C calorie is 1 kilo little c calorie. Okay? So in the US, we tend to use capital C calories. Okay? If you go abroad and travel abroad, you'll see energy in terms of joules on boxes instead of calories. Okay? So, now, in the US, or this is actually works everywhere, if we're going to use calories, these conversions, well, this right here will serve you well. For every gram of carbohydrates you have, what are carbohydrates? Where do you find carbohydrates?
Spaghetti.
Pasta.
Pasta. And what kind of compounds are those?
Sugars.
They're sugars. Carbohydrates are sugars. Okay? Sugars contain about 4 kilocalories per gram, 4 kilo little c calories, right? Or 4 capital C calories per gram. Protein contains about the same amount of energy, about 4 kilocalories per gram. Where do you find protein? Meat.
Beans.
And beans, some beans, right? Legumes contain some protein. Not as much as meat does. But if you're a vegetarian, that's why you eat nuts and beans and stuff all the time, because you need that protein. Now, where do you find the most energy from?
Fat.
Fat. Where do you find fat?
Dairy products.
Dairy products? Absolutely. Where else?
Not the
Yeah.
cake.
Huh?
Not the cake.
Bacon.
Not in the cake. Cake contains carbohydrates, that's about it.
Meat again.
In meat, right? Meat comes with a certain amount of fat normally. It says, who goes to the grocery store and buys your own meat?
What?
Right? Who goes, go to meat aisle? What's the cheapest cut of meat you can get? Let's talk about red meat.
Oh. The sirloin.
Well, besides hamburger, because that's just ground up pieces part.
Oh,
But like a
sirloin.
London broil or something like that, when you look at it, is there any white stuff in it? Flat iron steak. There's no fat in it, right? It's cheap. Doesn't have as many calories in it because there's not so much fat. Now, what kind of steaks taste really good?
Delmonico's.
Delmonico's, those kinds of things. Why? When you look at that,
Marbled.
it's marbled. What is that marbling?
Fat.
Fat equals flavor. Flavor equals calories. Chocolate cake tastes really good. It's got a lot of carbohydrates. That Delmonico steak tastes really good because it has a lot of fat in it. That Delmonico steak per ounce of steak has way more calories than a piece of London broil. Because London broil doesn't have any fat in it, right? That's why you gotta wrap it in bacon and cook it, right? You gotta put some fat in it.
Bacon, that would be.
Bacon's fat, right? Pork fat.
And that's their
It's
southern
fat.
thing.
That's good.
Fried
Fat equals flavor. How do we know that fat has more energy than protein does? Anybody in here ever stored any fat before?
Yeah.
Right there. We don't store it as muscle, do we? We store it as fat. Because you can store twice as much energy per gram of fat as you can of storing as protein. So it's more efficient to store it as fat. Sorry.
But sad.
Sad. Now here's some foods and their caloric values and breakdown by what types of things they have in them. So bananas, what do they contain? Carbohydrates. There's almost no fat or protein in a banana. All your calories come from carbohydrates. Now look down here at milk. Who drinks skim milk? Who drinks whole milk? Whole milk has over twice the amount of calories that skim milk does. Why? I can't
Because of
stand
the fat content.
Watered down.
Well, it's not. They remove all the fat from it. They don't add more water, they just remove the fat. Now, if you get used to drinking skim milk, whole milk tastes sour to you because of the fat that's in it. It's the same thing, they just remove the fat and make butter with it or ice cream. Right?
You didn't waste it.
They didn't waste it. No, they don't waste anything, right? But you see how many more calories whole milk has per serving than non-fat milk does? Look at our meat up here. We don't have different meats.
Yes.
Well, here's a steak down here versus ground beef up there. I guess ground beef because they put more fat. What?
I know that.
That don't sound right.
Unless it's designing fruit.
That don't sound right. It's saying that there's more fat in a steak than there is in ground beef.
Super weak ground beef. Or something.
Yeah, that's like that 98% stuff that tastes like rubber when you eat it, right?
Mm.
No, don't buy that. They don't have any flavor. It ain't leaving a good, like, bunch of grease in the bottom of the pan and it ain't gonna have any flavor to it. True, though, isn't